Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are enjoying what's left of summer 2017 and are accomplishing all of your goals for this year. This is my first pick book recommendation and I can hardly wait to share it with you all. It is The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. I absolutely adore this book. I believe I have the original paperback version, but this book is also available in the hardcover version as well. Just a quick fun fact. The 25th anniversary edition was published back in 2014 with prefaces by Oprah Winfrey and Maya Angelou. May she rest in peace and power. I will leave all of the publication information to this book in the description box below for all future references. This book is part of a sequel followed by The Heart of the Soul and The Mind of the Soul, all of which are written by Gary Zukav. There are 16 chapters in The Seed of the Soul and it is divided into 4 subcategories: the introduction, creation, responsibility, and power. The technical genre of this book is fiction, but if it were up to me, I would have deemed it as spiritual. And if you read this book, you will definitely understand why. Let's dive into the book. So on a scale from 1 to 5, I would definitely give this book a solid 5 stars. And this review is going to be my reasoning for my rating. Now I'm going to be discussing some key ideas that I believe are really major in this book. So if you do plan on reading this book in the future and are not comfortable with hearing my take on the book, then I would advise you to stop watching this video now. But if you are comfortable with, getting some tea from this book, by all means continue watching. So this book is full of psychological, biological, and emotional dualities. There's a huge sense of dualism throughout this entire book, and a few examples of them are the personality versus the soul, 5-sensory human versus multi-sensory human, external power versus authentic power, and physical evolution and evolution of the soul. Now, in the first chapter, Zhukov goes into detail regarding the topic of evolution, and he introduces us to a deeper connotation of evolution versus the biological theory of evolution, survival of the fittest. This book has helped serve me in the development of better character because, according to the author, feelings of compassion and reverence are perceptions of the soul, and being magnanimous and altruistic are a few character traits of the more evolved human, which is something that we all should strive to become, The author describes to the readers how to achieve authentic power over external power and why it's crucial for us to tap into our authentic power. And his suggestion for this is for us to align our thoughts, emotions, and actions. And when we become aligned in this way, our perception changes from horizontal to vertical, which I believe means to tap into our higher self, therefore achieving authentic power. There are a few ideas in this book that I find really interesting, and one of them is when Zhukov explains how emotional currents activate specific thoughts and actions, and can be transferred to other people. And I like to illustrate this idea with the analogy of a remote sending signals to a television to turn it on and off. And this is why I emphasize the importance of being aware of my emotions at all times. The Seed of the Soul has helped me gain my spirituality simply by breaking down the difference between a 5-sensory human and a multi-sensory human. And these were terms that I had never heard of before reading this book, but as I was reading it, I was not at all confused by these terms. I just had this knowing about this non-physical realm that the author talked about in this book. I believe that he was able to articulate what I subconsciously already knew about my own soul logically through his own experiences. So in summary, he mainly elaborates on 2 types of people throughout this entire book. He describes the person who pursues external power, which is the 5-sensory human, in comparison to the person who pursues authentic power, which is the multi-sensory human. Overall, I believe he teaches the 5-sensory human what it means to be a multi-sensory human and elaborates on what the multi-sensory human already knows. Now, if I had to describe this book in one word, it would be divine, because if I hadn't read this book, I wouldn't have known the author's perception of karma and the effects of karma and why it's important that we don't judge what we see, whether it's good or bad. The author also weighs in on the idea that we must be conscious of our own intentions because our intentions hold power, and even each planet in this book has its own consciousness, and Earth was lucky enough to be able to interact with us humans, or not even just humans, every living thing, everything on this planet, which I believe is really beautiful. Essentially, each soul is responsible for the world because we are all connected to the world and we are all connected to each other. There is so much more wisdom and guidance in this book, and I'm so thankful that I got a hold of this book when I did. I began reading this book 2 years ago when my older sister passed it down to me, and she raved about this book for months before I finally got my hands on it. And when I began reading it, I literally fell in love. And I love this book because I had no idea that it would teach me so many different life lessons. I had my very first spiritual awakening while reading this book that I was consciously aware of, because this book is the first of the many books of this kind that I've read. The Seed of the Soul has helped me discover who I am, and as I found myself, my life, its purpose, its divinity was all revealed to me through Zhukov's writings. It felt like the floodgates opened and shed light onto what is known as my soul, and my entire consciousness has elevated and shifted ever since reading this book. So without further ado, if you're on your own spiritual journey or path and you haven't heard of the Seed of the Soul yet until now, I highly encourage you to check this book out, because you will gain so much more wisdom and knowledge in addition to what you've already learned about yourself thus far. I can definitely say that this book is one that I will read over and over again for the rest of my life. So that is all for my first pick book recommendation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, I will leave all of the publication information to this book in the description box below. I will also leave links to where you can find this book and purchase it, and also just some useful links that you all may find informative. So thank you all again. Stay tuned. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you are interested in more book recommendations. So yeah, until next time, peace.